Our next honoree is Reverend Michael A. Walrond, one of the most transformative and inspirational leaders in this country. Pastor Mike, as he is affectionately known, is the senior pastor of First Corinthian Baptist Church, FCBC, in Harlem. Pastor Mike, who quite often is held as the most prolific and sought-after teachers and preachers in the country, is considered a visionary, a cultural architect, and a game changer by his peers. Most notably, 2 years ago, Pastor Mike opened the Hope Center, the first faith-based mental health facility. The Hope Center is guided by the vision to effectively support the vast mental health needs of the community and seeks to minimize stigma that exists in many communities of color when seeking mental health services. Pastor Mike has not shied away from talking about trauma, and in his recent commencement address at our alma mater, Morehouse College, he said the following: "We know trauma. We know what it is to be traumatized, but still, we stand firm. We faced it every day: Jim Crow, rape, poverty, gender stereotyping, abandonment, and neglect. We know trauma. All are designed to cripple us and castrate us, but we are still here. And we have been here before, seeing barbarism masked as civility." Filmed at FCBC, the following video provides a glimpse into the genius of Pastor Mike.
It is hard to see people who are suffering and struggling in a country of so much wealth and opulence. I think that juxtaposition is the most problematic thing in this country, that you see a country with so much opulence and yet there's so much poverty that what gets frustrating sometimes is that we don't seem as concerned in our country with addressing the needs of those who are suffering, who are marginalized because of poverty. I think those of us who have a passion for people and a commitment to our communities have a mandate to fight against poverty because of its dehumanizing effect and its marginalizing effect on so many communities, and for me, particularly of communities of color. And so I think that we cannot simply depend on government and policy to help fight poverty. Communities of care, love, and concern, and faith communities have to play their role. We do that here at FCBC in many ways.
Please welcome McSilver Honoree and my Morehouse brother, Reverend Michael A. Walrond.
Good evening. I want to thank the McSilver Institute for this honor, and I have to commend Constance. When you were looking for someone to lead the McSilver Institute, it is only logical that you found a Morehouse man to do that, and so we are grateful for that. I also want to thank the presence of my lovely, gorgeous, and beautiful wife, Dr. Lakeisha Walrond, who's here. This year marks 25 years we've been married, and so we are grateful for that. And I also want to thank some of the members of FCBC who are here, and all the members of the First Corinthian Baptist Church who have, in many ways, loved me back to wholeness. And so I'm grateful for that place and for what it has meant to me. They told me I had 2 minutes, and every preacher knows that 2 minutes is enough time for a 15-minute sermon. But I want to share something. I was looking at a video the other day by someone named Simon Sinek, and he said something that intrigued me. He said, when people follow you, when they feel empowered by you, when they're transformed by you, they're not empowered or transformed by what you do, or even by how you do it, but they are empowered and transformed by why you do it. What drives you, what ignites your passion, what galvanizes your spirit, what pools your deeper resources. And I started thinking about that, and it's something that I've tried to live my life by in the work that God has called me to do. 3 things that I've shared for years now, and I impart with you tonight. Three things that drive me, that ignite my passion, that allow me to get up every day and faith forward and do the work that I've been called to do. Because at the end of the day, the work that I do is not about me. We're reminded through the scripture that we are blessed to be a blessing. And so whatever we do, however we've been blessed, we use that to bless others. Three things, and then I'll take my seat. One is, if people are going to be transformed by you and empowered by you, you must possess a passion for the possible. You must enlist yourself to be part of the abolition of the impossible. Because in so many ways, so many of our people, so many of people in general who suffer, who are marginalized, who are ostracized, live life within damaging and dysfunctional limitations that have been heaped upon them. And in many ways, you can participate in their transformation by helping them gravitate even deeper towards possibility. But you cannot be an agent of possibility if you are a co-worker of pessimism. And so in many ways, you have to have a passion for the possible. That's the first thing. If you're going to transform and empower the lives of people, you also have to have a commitment to creativity. If there's something we are lacking now in this political and cultural moment, is imagination. Every day we see signs of political turmoil and upheaval, and every day almost we are bombarded by the reckless rantings of a pathological narcissist who occupies the White House. And so in some ways, we have to be committed to creativity, to think outside the box, to see possibility and use possibility as an engine for creativity, and not be daunted by what people say can't be done, but then be empowered by what you want to see done. And as was said already, to be that change that you want to see. And it takes creativity. I heard somewhere that creativity is simply intelligence having fun. So maybe some of our intelligence needs to start having some fun and be creative in this moment so we can participate in the transformation of our communities. And then lastly, and I end my last 30 seconds. If you're going to empower and transform the lives of people, not only ought you have a passion for the possible and a commitment to creativity, but maybe lastly and most importantly, exemplified by the McSilver Institute, is something in you ought to hunger for healing and wholeness. You ought to have a deep and abiding hunger, not just for healing, but for wholeness. Because what I've learned in my work is that there are many people who can be healed and not whole. And so we ought to want to see this wounded moment, this fractured country, whole again. Not feasting on a diet of dysfunction and mean-spiritedness, but whole. Where we transcend the stifling boundaries that minimize our humanity every day. Whole again. And that is the work we're called to do if we're going to be agents of change and transformation, a passion for the possible, a commitment to creativity, and a hunger for healing. And lastly, don't take everything that has been given to you and waste it. And I close with this I learned at Morehouse, Mike, a long time ago, a poem from the late, great Howard Thurman. He said, "I'm tired of sailing my little boat far inside the harbor bar. I want to go out where the big ships float, out on the deep where the great ones are. And should my frail craft prove too slight for waves that sweep those billows o'er, I'd rather go down in a stirring fight than drowse to death by the sheltered shores." Don't drowse to death by the sheltered shores. In times like these, we need people who are ready to go down in a stirring fight. Thank you again.